Revenge films.
My name is Emily. I'm 25 years old and just recently got married to the man of my dreams. My husband's name is Kevin. We met because we were colleagues at the same company, and after we dated for about 1 year, he proposed to me and we got married. I'm very happy with my husband. However, we did have one big problem in our marriage, and that was Kevin's mother, my mother-in-law, Karen. When Kevin and I got married, we had agreed that we would start living together with his mother in his family home. My father-in-law had passed away 1 year ago, and Kevin felt bad for his mother to be left alone in the family house, so it was his suggestion that she move in with us. To be honest, I had a hard time getting on board with it, but because my family lived out of state and far away, I wouldn't be able to rely on them if I would ever be pregnant and have kids, and Kevin's mother was the only family nearby.
I want children soon, too. So don't you think that it would be a huge help if my mom is nearby to help us take care of the baby?
And Kevin said that. I couldn't help but agree, and more importantly than that, she said that we didn't need to pay rent if we were going to live at her house, and so I agreed to moving in with the family home. However, we eventually moved in, and I found out that Kevin's mother was quite the pain. The main root of that was the Smith family lived next door to her house. That couple also lived with their mother, and Kevin's mother didn't really get along with her. She always treated the neighbor like she was the biggest enemy and had some kind of rivalry with her. For example, one evening when I was cooking dinner, "Oh, Karen, dinner is going to be ready soon. We're about to have curry tonight." "Curry? There's no way that's acceptable. You need to start over and make something else." What do you mean I need to start over and make something else? Can't you tell by the smell? There's no doubt that the next door neighbor's having beet hot pot for dinner. In that case, we're going to have barbecued beef, so you need to hurry up and prepare that right now. But the curry is already finished, and even if we wanted to have barbecued beef tonight, we don't have the ingredients for that. Oh, well, in that case, then hurry up and go buy it right now. And in this way, everything was a rivalry with the next door neighbors. Even though I finished cooking everything, that all I needed to do was put the curry roaks into the pot and complete dinner. In the end, I had to rush to the supermarket to buy all of the ingredients for a completely different dinner and start making everything again from scratch. I later found out that some of the neighbors, that apparently my mother-in-law and Mrs. Smith, used to get along very well back in the day. However, after one tiny little argument, that became the reason for them to be ice cold with each other for more than half a year now. That being said, Mrs. Smith and her family would never do anything to harass us, and it felt like my mother-in-law was feeling a very one-sided rivalry towards the family. Even the neighbors knew about it and were very concerned. "You married into quite a messy family. Take care of your health and good luck to you." I was really fed up with it, but I was getting by with my life until one day.
Congratulations! You're pregnant!
What? For real? We're pregnant? That was when we discovered that I was pregnant, and Kevin and I were ecstatic. "Hey, Emily, is it true that you're going to have a baby?" "Oh yes, that's right. We found out today." I expected Kevin's mother to be excited with us, but then suddenly she started saying the most outrageous thing. "All right, when you do, you need to give birth ASAP." What do you mean ASAP? That's not possible. I still have months ahead." "Well, it turns out that the neighbor's wife is also pregnant, and so no matter what, you better give birth first before them. You better not lose to them." When we heard that, both Kevin and I were at a loss for words. That was her reaction. We knew that this wasn't a conversation worth having, so we just brushed her off, but even after that day, "You still can't give birth? Oh, come on. What are we going to do if they give birth before you? This is unacceptable. Seriously, how useless could you be?" And she started harassing me about it every single day, and even that the rivalry only became worse once the babies were born. "Hey, did you hear that the neighbors have already gotten their kids to maybe walk? But what about this one? Does it still not talk? Come on, Granny. Say Granny." "Oh, shut up. If you're gonna have the energy to cry, then why don't you talk? Otherwise, you're gonna lose to the neighbors, and that's unacceptable." And in this way, she started roping my newborn daughter, Sarah, into her rivalry with the neighbors. This continued even as Sarah started to get older. "I heard that the neighbor kids started taking piano lessons. Now you need to hurry up and get to the piano."
"What? But I just started swimming lessons the other day."
"That doesn't matter anymore. The neighbor's kids already quit those swimming lessons, didn't they? So you need to hurry up and quit and start playing the piano." And in this way, because my mother-in-law's own selfish competitiveness, Sarah was being thrown around into various lessons. Even though she was finally starting to make friends, she was having to say goodbye to them over and over again and start a new lesson. She was being forced to take lessons when she didn't even want to, and I felt sorry for her. Both Kevin and I tried to reject my mother-in-law's actions many times, but every time it was the same conversation. "I am the landlord and the head of this house, and it's a given that you should follow the orders of the head of the house." And she refused to listen to us. However, around that time that Sarah became became a 4th grader in elementary school, a change finally came. Grandmother over in the Smith family finally passed away. They had a modest funeral for just their immediate family, but my mother-in-law wasn't able to hide her happiness. It was as if she couldn't hold it in inside her, and she kept laughing and was dancing around the house and celebrating. She must have thought that now that Mrs. Smith had passed away, her competition that lasted for years was over and she had won. However, after being flung around by my mother-in-law's selfish competitions for all these years, our entire family was fed up with her. We couldn't let things in like this, or none of us would have felt good about it. That's why our family discussed together and decided to come up with a plan for revenge. Karen, I'm very sorry, but will you please answer the phone? My hands are a little tied right now in the kitchen. What did you just say? I'm busy too, you know. Oh, fine. Yes, hello?
This is XO Funeral Homes at your service. We are contacting you about the inquiry you made the other day about a funeral.
A funeral, you say? What are you talking about?
This is about the inquiry that you made about the funeral for the matriarchy of the family.
What? Matriarchy? You mean me? Oh, yes. I'll take the phone from here. Hello? Thank you for getting back to us. Of course, this phone call was part of our plan. My mother-in-law was just standing there with her eyes wide open, but I continued speaking on the phone to the funeral home staff. Yes, hello, that's correct. Ma'am, what date shall we do it on? The sooner the better, right? So we can schedule it for sometime next week? Are you kidding me? Stop messing around! My mother-in-law panicked, and she snatched the phone out of my hands and hung up the phone. Why funeral, you say? What the hell are you thinking? There are some things that you can't joke about, and this is crossing the line. My mother-in-law was yelling at me, and at that moment, Sarah appeared.
But this isn't a joke at all,
Sarah said with a straight face. Sarah, what are you saying? Even you, honey?
Because, Grandma, you always said that you don't want to lose to Mrs. Smith. I heard that when I was about to be born, you were also rushing my mom to give birth to me sooner than what was safe.
No, well, that's,
So that's why, Mrs. Smith passed away first, so you need to hurry up and catch up with her.
Sarah was calm with her words, but it was obvious in her expression that she had quite a lot of anger directed toward her grandmother. My mother-in-law had been using Sarah like a tool in her competition all these years, so there was no doubt that she had a lot of anger built up towards her grandmother.
And you even said to me many times in all these years that you're never going to lose to Mrs. Smith, right? So come on, if you don't hurry up, you're going to be left behind even more and more. When do you want it to be? Should it be tomorrow? I could call the funeral home one more time to tell them the plan for tomorrow.
As soon as Sarah grabbed the phone and lifted it up, my mother-in-law erupted into anger and went crazy. What the hell are you saying? You need to stop messing around too, Sarah. And first of all, you were born into this family, and it's a given that you should be helping the head of the household, which is me. However, this was when Kevin had made his appearance.
That's enough already, Mom! Cut it out!
Kevin? Because Kevin was very firm with her and left no room for her to say anything back, I felt a huge weight off of my shoulders. Kevin is normally a very kind and rarely ever raises his voice, and yet he was furious with his own mother. I figured that should be enough down my mother-in-law, but instead she raised her voice back at Kevin. Shut up! I'm the head of the household, and it's a given that you should follow the orders of the head of the household. She only stood her ground even further. If she wasn't going to budge, there was no way that we were going to be able to reason with her anymore. If she simply sincerely apologized, then we would consider forgiving her for all these years. But that was when Kevin finally let out the words.
In that case, why don't you do what you want? We're going to leave.
Huh? What?
We already have our eyes on a new house as well, so you can just live here by yourself as the head of this household.
After that, we gathered our belongings immediately and we left the house. In the end, my mother-in-law was crying and apologizing to us, but it was already too far late. My mother-in-law's twisted rivalry with Mrs. Smith was already a bad rumor around the neighborhood, and so now everybody in the neighborhood hates her. And I heard that she's living all alone with no friends in that house. She was yelling that she was the head of the household, but now that she was left to live by herself in that house, those words only echoed right back to her. Sarah also said that she never wanted to see her grandma again, and we're living happily in our new home far away from that house. And it's none of our business what happens to her anymore.
How was today's video? If you enjoyed it, please subscribe, like, and leave a comment. Stay tuned for more.